Welcome to episode 80 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the tales of Troy and the story of Hector and Ajax in single combat. When Athene, looking down from Olympus, saw the two brothers striding to battle, she herself impetuously hastened to the city of Troy. Under the beech tree of Zeus, she met Apollo, who had left the ramparts of the citadel and was directing the fighting of the Trojans. "What fiery zeal has driven you from Olympus?" he asked his sister. "Are you still ruthlessly bent on the fall of Troy? If only you would listen to me and allow this day to pass without decisive warfare. Let them fight another time, for I know that Hera and you will not rest until lofty Troy lies in ruins." Athene replied, "Far darter, let it be as you say. It was with this very thought in mind that I came down from Olympus. But tell me how you expect to stop all these men from fighting." "What must we do," said Apollo, "is to swell the courage of mighty Hector until he challenges one of the Danai to single combat. Then let us watch and see how they acquit themselves." Pallas Athene agreed. The spirit of Helenus, the soothsayer, had heard this conversation of the immortals. Swiftly he went to Hector and said, "Wise son of Priam, obey my counsel this once, for I am your brother who loves you. Bid all the others, Trojans and Argives alike, call a truce, but you yourself shall challenge the bravest among the Argives to single combat, which will decide the war. You may do this without danger, believe me, for I am a seer and know that your time to die is not yet come." Hector rejoiced at his words. He halted the Trojan army, and holding his spear in the middle, stepped forth between the two hosts. They marked this sign, and now the fighting stopped on both sides, for Agamemnon, too, ordered his men to refrain. Athene and Apollo, meanwhile, perched in the birch tree of Zeus in the shape of two vultures, delighted in the turmoil. At last all were seated with shields, helmets, and lances bristling about them, moving no more than the sea with the last breath of the west wind just ruffles its waters. Now Hector, standing in the center, began to speak. "Trojans and Danai, hear what my heart bids me undertake. Zeus has not approved the treaty we recently made. Rather has he incited both your men and mine not to rest until either Troy is vanquished or you are driven back to your ships. The bravest heroes of all Greece have come with your host. Whichever of these dares to fight me in single combat, let him now come forward. This is what I propose, and may Zeus be my witness. If my opponent slays me with his spear, he shall have my armor and carry it to his ship as spoils of war. But let him send my body to Troy so that it may be honored in death, and may burn on a pyre heaped on native soil. But should Apollo grant me the victory, should I slay my opponent, I shall hang his armor up in the temple of Phoebus in Troy, and you may bury your dead with all splendor and pile at his burial mound at the Hellespont, pile it so high that in times to come sailors will say, 'See, here is the burial mound of a man who died long since, one who was killed in combat with glorious Hector.'" So he spoke, but the Argives were silent, for it was shameful to refuse this challenge and dangerous to accept it. Finally, Menelaus rose and chided his people. "Alas," he said, "what cowards you are, women rather than men. It would be a disgrace we could never live down if no Argive dared confront Hector. You who sit there with cringing hearts that do not thirst for glory, I wish you were all turned back to water and mud. I myself shall prepare for combat and commend the outcome to the gods." With this, he girt on his armor, and his death would have been sealed had not the Argive princes started up and held him back. Agamemnon seized his right hand and said, "Brother, wait! What are you thinking of? You are mad to fight one stronger than yourself, one of whom those mightier than you are afraid. For even Achilles hesitated to measure his strength against Hector's. We all beg you to think better of it." In this way Agamemnon persuaded Menelaus to alter his resolve. And now Nestor addressed the people and told them the tale of a combat he had fought with Erithalion of Arcadia. "If I were young," he said in conclusion, "if my strength were still as unbroken as in those days, Hector would not have long to wait for an opponent." After these words, intended as censure, 9 princes arose and offered to do single combat with Hector. First among these was Agamemnon. Then came Diomedes, and after him the 2 Ajaxes. Then Idomeneus, Marinennes, his friend, Eurypylus, Thos, and Odysseus. "The lot shall decide," said Nestor, "and no matter which of you it falls to, the Argives will rejoice, and so will he himself when he issues victorious from this conflict." Each marked his own lot, and they were tossed into Agamemnon's helmet. Nestor shook it, and out leaped a lot of Ajax, son of Telamon. A herald took it in his hand and passed it to each of the 8 heroes before Ajax. But no one recognized it until it reached him who had marked it himself. Joyfully, Ajax threw down the lot and cried, "It is mine, and I am glad, for I hope to vanquish Hector. Do you all pray silently or aloud while I make myself ready?" The people obeyed. Ajax girded on his shining armor and stormed into battle like the war god himself. A smile lit his grave face as he strode forward, brandishing his heavy lance. All the Argives rejoiced at sight of him, and a shudder of fear rippled through the Trojan battalions. Even the heart of great Hector hammered against his ribs. But now he could not draw back, for he himself had given the challenge to combat. Ajax approached him, covering his body with the shield of bronze and 7 ox hides, which Tyseus, a peerless craftsman, had made for him. When he was quite close to Hector, he said threateningly, "Hector, now you can well see that the Danai have other heroes besides the lion-hearted son of Peleus, other and many. So let us begin." And Hector answered, "Godlike son of Telamon, do not try to frighten me as though I were a weak child or a woman faint of spirit, for I am experienced in fighting with men. I know how to shift the shield left and right. I know how to foot the dance of a terrible war god and guide the horses through the tumult. Come then, let not with hidden ruse, but openly will I launch my spear at you." With these words, he cast his lance, and it flew in a bold curve straight into the shield of Ajax through 6 layers of hide and stopped only at the 7th. And now the son of Telamon flung his lance, and it shattered Hector's shield, cut his cuirass, and would have entered his groin had not Hector swerved to one side. Both drew their spears and ran at each other again and again like tireless boars. Hector aimed at the middle of Ajax's shield, but the point of his lance bent and did not penetrate the bronze. Ajax pierced his opponent's shield and grazed his neck so that the dark blood spurted out. Now Hector drew back a few steps. His sinewy right hand gripped a stone lying in the field, and with it he hit the buckle of his enemy's shield so that the bronze rang. Then Ajax picked up a bigger stone and hurled it at Hector with such force that the shield caved in, and Hector was wounded in the knee and fell on his back. But he did not let go of his shield. Apollo, who stood beside him, invisible to all, quickly raised him from the earth, and now these two would have rushed at each other with their swords to decide the combat once and for all, Had not the heralds of both peoples, Idaeus for the Trojans and Talthybius for the Argives, run forward and held their staves before the combatants? Do not fight any more, Idaeus said. You are both courageous and both favored by Zeus. All of us have seen this. But night is coming. Obey the bidding of night. Speak to him who belongs to your own people, Ajax answered the herald. It is he who challenged the bravest among the Argives to single combat. Let him stop if he wants to. And now Hector addressed his opponent. Ajax, a god gave you your strong limbs, your power, and your skill in casting the spear. Today, let us rest from the combat. We will renew it another time and fight until Zeus confers victory and fame on one or the other of our two peoples. But now, let us honor each other with gifts, so that the Trojans and the Argives one day may say, they fought with each other as foes, but they parted as friends. So said, and Hector gave his opponent his sword with the silver hilt, together with the scabbard and the sword strap. And Ajax undid his crimson belt and offered it to Hector. Then they parted. Ajax returned to the Argive battalions, and Hector went back to the Trojans, who were happy to see their hero emerge alive from the hands of terrible Ajax. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.